In this story, we will witness a breathtaking operation carried out by a human assassination squad in a galaxy dominated by aliens. Will they be able to succeed? Nathaniel Rake leaned his back against the cold metal wall and took a deep breath. At the end of a dark corridor, he was watching the outside through a thin slit in the wall. Ahead of them, the grand doors of the ballroom had opened, and an opulent gathering was beginning inside. The Empire's highest-ranking general, Thanos Velric, stepped onto the stage clad in his silver armor. Hundreds of humans and representatives of various galactic races gathered in the hall, enthusiastically greeting Velric. But for Nathaniel, Velric was just another target. He glanced briefly at his assassination team. Zoe, Jasper, and Freya, all human, all committed to this mission with their lives. Zoe was the brain of the team, a master strategist. Jasper moved like a silent shadow, advancing without anyone sensing his presence. Freya was the team's sniper. Distance meant nothing to her. She always hit her mark. "The time has come," Nathaniel whispered in Zoe's ear. Zoe reviewed the ballroom's map on her holographic wrist device. "The plan is clear. Once Velric starts his speech, Jasper will cut the lights. At that moment, there will be a distraction, and we'll launch the attack." Nathaniel nodded. "Everyone, take your positions." One of the most powerful men in the Empire, Velric, had begun his speech in front of the crowd. The lights in the hall were shining brightly, and the crowd was listening to him with full attention. Armed guards lined the corridors, standing alert. Everyone seemed disciplined and vigilant, but Nathaniel and his team had calculated every detail to bring them down. Jasper managed to hack into the ballroom's security system with a small device. All the lights in the hall suddenly went out. Darkness filled the air, with only the faint metallic gleam of Velric's armor visible. Chaos erupted in an instant. People screamed in confusion, and the guards quickly scrambled to take defensive positions. Nathaniel drew his laser blade and charged toward Velric. Before the Imperial Guards even realized the assassins were upon them, Nathaniel had already closed in on Velric like a shadow. When their eyes met, Velric's expression shifted for a brief moment, betraying a flicker of surprise. "It won't be that easy," Velric whispered. But Nathaniel didn't hesitate. He plunged his laser blade toward Velric's throat. Just as he anticipated the blade to strike true, a shimmering energy shield deflected the attack. Nathaniel pulled back, his eyes scanning the area rapidly. Velric had set a trap. Suddenly, blue lights flickered to life in the darkness, and the guards standing beside Velric sprang into action. "Attack!" Zoe shouted, realizing the plan was in jeopardy. As Nathaniel parried the oncoming guards with swift strikes of his laser blade, he watched his back carefully. Zoe and Jasper opened fire, trying to stop the soldiers advancing down the corridor. Freya, positioned above, took aim at Velric. It only took her a second to align her shot, and the laser bullet hit its mark, striking Velric's helmet dead on, sending him to the ground. Yet, Velric quickly reinforced his protective armor and began retreating. The corridor had narrowed. Nathaniel was sweating as he fought off the two guards pursuing him. One of the guards' laser swords clashed against Nathaniel's blade with a metallic ring. Nathaniel quickly stepped back, finding an opening to thrust his sword into the guard's chest. A cry of pain erupted from the guard as the blade pierced through his body. The second guard attacked from behind, but Jasper silently appeared, driving his blade into the man's neck. "Velric is escaping," Jasper said, glancing at Nathaniel. "We'll chase him," Nathaniel replied with a determined look. "But first, we have to make it out of here alive." Zoe headed toward the door at the end of the corridor. "This door leads us outside," she said, checking the holographic map. However, Just as they were about to open the door, they realized that Velric had been waiting for them. Behind the door was a heavily armored unit. Velric's trap went deeper than they had thought. "Fall back!" Nathaniel shouted, but it was too late. The armored soldiers opened fire on them with laser guns. Zoe quickly activated a shield to deflect the first wave of attacks. Freya, meanwhile, kept firing from above, each of her shots taking down a soldier. But the enemy numbers were overwhelming, and more soldiers were arriving with each passing second. As Nathaniel cut down enemy after enemy with his laser blade, one thought dominated his mind. This trap could be the end of everything. But humans were used to dancing with death. This time, they would stand fearlessly against it again. Velric, watching their struggle from within his armor, smiled coldly. But Freya noticed a weak spot in his armor. She adjusted her sniper rifle, pulled the trigger, and Velric's armor collapsed. As he fell to the ground, the sound of battle ceased. The corridor fell silent. Nathaniel took one last deep breath and looked around. The team was still standing, but the war was only just beginning. "This is just the beginning," Nathaniel said, staring at Velric's lifeless body. The Galactic Empire had begun to pay the price for underestimating humans, but this was only the first step. Velric's lifeless body had collapsed to the ground. The silence that echoed through the dark corridor momentarily made them forget the brutality of the battle. As Nathaniel and his team briefly tasted the cold breath of victory, they knew they had to act without delay. Zoe, still behind her shield, quickly assessed the situation. Jasper gathered weapons from the fallen armored soldiers, making them ready for use. Freya calmly descended from her vantage point, recharging her rifle. "We killed Velric, but it's not over yet," Nathaniel said, taking a deep breath. Zoe stood beside him. "Velric's death will cause panic in Thanos. We can use this chaos, but it won't be enough. We need more. We need to send a message to the entire galaxy." Nathaniel's eyes locked onto the glowing lights at the end of the corridor. "The Empire has ignored humans for far too long. They see us as nothing more than mortals, too insignificant to be a threat because of our short lifespans. But they're wrong. Humanity's mortality allows us to make bold decisions quickly. It makes us braver, more determined, and more dangerous. The Empire will soon pay a heavy price for underestimating us. We're going to target the heart of the Empire. We'll strike them in their own palace," he declared. The Imperial Palace was one of the most secure places in the galaxy. Hundreds of security layers, laser defense systems, and highly trained soldiers patrolled the palace's perimeter. But Nathaniel and his team were used to such obstacles. They were humanity's silent warriors on the galactic stage. Their mortality was their greatest strength because they had nothing to lose. Freya pointed her scope toward the palace's outer wall, studying it closely. "The only way in is through the southern loading bay. It's the weakest point." Nathaniel looked in the direction Freya indicated. The loading bay was covered by thick metal walls, but if they could bypass the systems, they would have a chance to reach the palace. "Once inside, Zoe and I will infiltrate the command center. Jasper and Freya, you'll distract the soldiers outside." Suddenly, Zoe's holographic device pinged. "The loading bay patrol will switch shifts in a few minutes. That's when we strike." Nathaniel checked his weapons and gave his team one final glance. Determination shone in everyone's eyes. This would be their biggest operation yet. This step for humanity could change the fate of the galaxy. Moving silently, the team reached the walls of the loading bay. Jasper deactivated the security system with the device in his hand, while Freya targeted the sniper tower above. "Now!" Nathaniel whispered as soon as Jasper finished his task. With a small explosion, a section of the wall collapsed, and the team quickly infiltrated. The patrol that spotted them was too late to react. Zoe fired a single shot into the first guard's chest with her laser gun. Even the guard's armor couldn't withstand the deadly skills of human assassins. As Freya provided cover fire from the rear, taking down enemies along the corridor, Jasper once again demonstrated his expertise in neutralizing enemy defenses. Once inside, Nathaniel swiftly moved toward the command center. The palace alarms began blaring, and soldiers rushed to intercept them. Red lights flashed along the walls of the corridors. The Empire's forces formed orderly lines, defending the palace. But Nathaniel and his team, unwavering, destroyed every obstacle in their path without hesitation. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye. See you in the next story.